Well, hello. Today is the 1989 Cannon film Cyborg. In the future, the world will be destroyed by a plague. A woman cyborg named Pearl Prophet has data she needs to get to scientists at the CDC in Atlanta. She is captured by Fender, a ruthless leader that wants to control the cure. A mercenary called a slinger named Gibson Rickenbacker tracks them down. Gibson hooks up with a young survivor of a massacre that Fender's gang did to get a boat. They must fight off marauders along the way. Gibson attacks Fender's gang and rescues Pearl, but she refuses to go, instead believing she can lure Fender to his death in Atlanta. Gibson gets captured and crucified on a derelict ship's mast. He manages to kick the mast over. His companion, Natty, then comes to help him off the mast, and they continue on their way, where they have a final confrontation in Atlanta. So at the end of the 80s, Cannon was still very, ambitious company, and they had plans to do a sequel to the He-Man film and a live-action Spider-Man. But of course, they were kind of circling the drain, and they didn't have the money to afford the licensing fees from Mattel or Marvel. So those plans were scrapped, but they apparently spent $2 million on costumes for these movies, and they wanted to, recover their costs from this expenditure. So they got Albert Pyun, who was actually scheduled to direct the sequel to the He-Man. Instead, get a movie started up. It was going to be under $500,000 for a budget, and and he's a really great director. I think he's a very underrated director. This guy can do really cheap stuff and do it well. I mean, he finished a movie for Canon on a budget of $0. So, he is definitely someone very underrated that I enjoy. And of course, he did this movie. He got Cyborg, and he did it shot it in 23 days in Wilmington, North Carolina. And it made about $10 million. So definitely they recovered their $2 million budget. And that doesn't even count the rentals on this. So I'm sure they made some money. Canon was really a good money maker. Unfortunately, they just spent way more than they could on making money. And this was also Van Damme's second movie. He had a real big success with Cannon for Bloodsport. So they offered him, he can do his second movie, and they gave him three choices. He could do Delta Force 2, American Ninja 3, and this movie. And he chose this movie, even though he said he didn't really like the story, but he chose it anyway. And I think that's a good choice for him, because he really fit well in this movie. Name of Gibson Rickenbacker. What a cool name that is. And a little trivia apparently is all the characters named in this movie were after guitar or musical instrument manufacturers. So, and the villain they had for this game was Fender. He was played by Vincent Klein. I think he was like a professional surfer, as well as an actor who appeared in a bunch of these kind of cheap movies, especially for Albert Pyun. And he was a really great villain for this. I mean, he was really a scary guy with those weird eyes and that. And, this was a really kind of a well done movie, I thought. For a little low budget post apocalyptic movie. I mean, if you combine apocalyptic movies with Albert Pyan and Jean-Claude Van Damme, you're going to get a really awesome piece of work, I think. And this is a fun movie. I love this movie, and it works for me. I remember renting it back in the day, and I still enjoy this movie. And I think it's a fun movie, and I think helped down Van Damme's career. And this is I think what movie you should check out. So if you stuck with me this long, I thank you. You're a unique individual. Oh yeah, and they also made 2 sequels from this that were very loosely based on it and didn't have Van Damme. Although one did have a young 19-year-old Angelina Jolie. And someday we'll get to those. Thanks.